Hey to all of the aspiring film directors out there. Today I'm going to talk to you about a directing technique called result directing and why you should avoid it. In the words of Kevin Bacon, a good director creates an environment which gives the actor the encouragement to fly. In the world of filmmaking, communication between a director and their actor is crucial. And there is one common method that a lot of directors use, often without realizing its drawbacks. And this technique is called result directing. Result directing is where a director will communicate with their actor primarily by telling the actor the result of what they want to see. For an example, you might talk to your actor and you might tell them, I would like you to look sad. Or maybe something like, I would like you to look more sad. Be more sad for this scene. Yeah, that's good, just more sad. And while this might feel like a straightforward instruction, it actually leaves all kinds of questions unanswered, and it doesn't actually help the actor find what is right for the scene. So first, let's talk a bit more about it. So what is result directing? While result directing isn't necessarily wrong, it can certainly be limiting. It can stifle the actor's creativity and lead to performances that feel forced and unnatural. So when you go to an actor and you say, I would like you to look sad, that might just produce a generic version of sadness and not necessarily the specific type of sadness that suits the scene. Because when you think about it, there are a lot of different ways that someone can be sad. So first off, here are the 4 main drawbacks of result directing. Number 1 is lack of depth. Result directing can produce shallow performances because the actor is focusing on displaying a certain emotion rather than thinking about the underlying motivations and the internal processes that help them get there. Number 2 is stifled creativity. One of the great things about actors is that they can help bring their own interpretations to the role. By telling them exactly what you want in this way, you might miss out on a unique opportunity to see what they can bring to this particular scene. Number 3 is inconsistent performances. Emotions are complex and they can manifest in a variety of ways. Result directing can potentially lead to inconsistent performances as an actor might struggle to maintain a specific result through each take and scene. Number 4 is pressure on the actors. Now, it's not to say that you can't create situations that challenge them as a performer, but result directing, I would say, kind of brings it in the other direction. By using result directing, they are naturally going to be thinking a bit more mechanical about it. How can I make my face look sad? How can I present myself as sad to the camera and sad for the scene, instead of truly immersing themselves in the scene and in the character and in that moment. Now you have a better idea of what result directing is, but how can we cull this bad habit as a film director? Here are 6 tools that you can use. Number 1 is ask questions. One of the best ways that you can communicate with your actors and even with the rest of the crew is to ask questions and help them come to the answer on their own. So this can be a bit harder at times, but it will deliver a better outcome. By asking the actor questions and helping them come to the answer on their own, it also helps in giving that actor a sense of ownership over their own performance and over this character. Because if you are asking them questions, then at least partly they feel like they have helped create the character, which they have. Number 2 is use verbs, and recently I have created an entire video specifically on using verbs as a way to communicate with your actors, so feel free to go and have a look at that. Just like asking questions, the verbs are another way to allow your actor to come up with the answer on their own, but it does add a little bit more direction in there too. Instead of saying something like, he is sad or he looks sad, you would do something a bit more specific. So you would use a verb, which is an action word, which gives the actor something to do. So instead of saying, I would like you to be angry at this other person, you would say, I would like you to challenge this other person. I would like you to confront this other person. And then that gives them something to do, and then it encourages the actor to come up with what this character's version of confronting would look like. What version of confrontation will suit this scene? And with the other example, so instead of saying he looks sad, what does that mean? He looks sad. Looking sad can be all kinds of things. Does looking sad mean that they are crying? Does looking sad mean, what does it mean? So instead you would use a verb. So instead of saying he is sad, you would say he mourns. Maybe there would be a scene where instead of saying that this person looks desperate, because what does that look like? You would say this person begs. You know, maybe that's the particular version of desperate that you're looking for. And so a nice helpful tool with this that you can even bring out to set is just having a list of verbs. And just as a bit of daily practice, you try to incorporate verbs into your vocabulary. Number 3 is focus on objectives. Instead of telling your actor how to feel, you can start by telling them what it is that their character wants in this scene. What is their objective? What are they trying to do? If there's another character, maybe they are trying to scare this person away, or maybe they are trying to convince them to stay. Maybe they are trying to retrieve an object. Perhaps the character's objective in this scene is to convince another character that they are wrong. Perhaps their objective is purely to stop this interaction altogether. You know, someone is trying to talk to them and their objective is to do nothing, but in order to do nothing, their objective would be to end this interaction with this other character. Number 4 is create a backstory. So this is something that you would work on yourself for a while, but then at some point in that process, you would talk to the actor and you would both discover more about this character together. You would talk about the character's history, their relationships, and any experiences that might help the actor deliver more authentic emotions and reactions. Number 5 is to encourage physicality. A lot of the time when I'm creating a story, the first draft often will have dialogue. You know, just as normal, there'll be whatever amount of dialogue. It might be good dialogue, it might be bad dialogue, it might be too little, it might be too much. More often than not, it's probably too much. Then I will come back through the story. I might look at a particular scene and I will try to come up with ideas of how I could achieve this scene with the same outcome without using dialogue. So are there ways that I can show the important information without one of the characters directly saying it? And a lot of the time, you know, dialogue will still be the best option, but going through it this way will help you trim some of that unwanted dialogue. Number 6 is collaborative rehearsals. If you have time and if you have enough in the budget to have some of these rehearsals, it is a good idea because then it allows you and the actors to go through the scene and just sort of play a little bit, you know, just let the actors go through it. Maybe they'll come up with their own ideas, and maybe some of those ideas work better than your original idea. And it's important to be open to these new ideas as well. You can allow the actor to play and go through the scene themselves, and then you simply come in and provide any feedback or adjustments. So result directing can seem like a straightforward approach, and trust me, I've done it plenty of times myself, but it can be limiting. And I just want to give you some of these tips so that you can develop as a film director and grow past it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.